Well, hello. Welcome back to yet another installment of Adulting with Ella. Today, let's talk about how to make friends as an introvert. Yes, my qualification lies in the fact that I am an introvert. And not only was I an introvert, I also moved to a new environment, a new country where I didn't know anyone. I didn't know anyone my age, at least. Speaking from my experience, I have some tricks and tips that I can show you. So buckle up. Tip number 1, lower your threshold. When you have limited options, whenever someone invites you to things, provided that they're not creepy weirdos, you just say yes. You show up, you hope for the best, you prepare for the worst, but regardless, you show up. When you're new to a neighborhood or to a community, you really want to cash in on the existing people that you know, the existing resources that you have. So let's say someone that you barely knew invited your friend, and then your friend invited you to come over. Show up, say hi to the host, thank them for inviting you over even though they didn't necessarily invite you. Be a good house guest, bring your manners, bring some gifts if you want, or if you can't afford gifts, just bring good energies, right? Just because you're an introvert doesn't mean you have to have bad manners. There's a big distinction between the two. Don't get me twisted. Whenever I get invited to things, my mentality going into it is that even though I might not make a lifelong friend, I may not even have a good time, depending on what activity there is, I would force myself to show up because who knows? One friend can introduce you to another friend, and before you know it, you might walk away with the friend that you didn't necessarily come with, that didn't necessarily invite you. That has happened to me so many times. And so, yeah. In the beginning, say yes to everything, say yes to everyone, say yes to invite. That way, people would know next time they want to do something to invite you over. Well, hello. Before we get on to the video, I would just like to quickly introduce myself. Hi. My name is Ella. I'm a full-time English teacher that specializes in devising a systematic approach to learning English. So if you've been struggling with English speaking for a while, or you're a beginner, you just don't want to waste time and you want to take out all the guesswork, I offer private one-on-one classes as well as self-study guides and courses. So if you're interested, take a look at my profile and you'll gain access to all my stuff. Now let's get on with the video. Tip number 2, get close. Proximity is the number one factor in why people choose to be friends with certain people, right? A lot of times it's not so much about, oh, their personality, they're so great, they're so nice. No, they're friends because they live close to each other. They hang out with each other in school. They hang out with each other in churches or just any third spaces. If you live in an isolated area, when you're kind of away from everyone like I am, you make sure, if it's in your budget, to move close or as close as you can, or make sure to commute to people, to drive to people. Don't be so stingy with your energy. Don't be so stingy with your time. When you're in a limited space and area, you really have to go out to meet people. Otherwise, most likely you'll just be on your own, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but you can't wait until you're feeling absolutely lonely to think, oh my God, I wish I had friends. No. With that said, let's move on to tip number 3, which is to go to third spaces a lot. Go to coffee shops, go to the same coffee shops, go to the same bars if you drink. I personally don't, so I just do coffee shops. Co-working spaces these days are a great resource for meeting people that are in your demographic, that are kind of in the same age group, do the same thing, have the same income as you do. So even if you don't make lifelong friends with them, it's a great practice, particularly if you're talking to baristas or any service staff. They're kind of paid to talk to you or at least be nice to you. And so in the beginning, I would practice speaking with baristas. You don't necessarily need to be an extrovert to be able to do that. Just have things that you're passionate about. Memorize a few lines, memorize a few topics that you feel passionate about, and you don't necessarily have to follow like the typical trajectory of a small talk. Oh, how's the weather? What do you do for your job? And all that boring stuff. Like, think of things that you would want to hear about. A lot of times people don't necessarily care about the logistics. They care about your conviction. They care about how you feel. And so long as you speak with conviction and determination and passion, they'll hear you. They'll hear you out. Eventually, when you get to like people that you actually want to impress or actually want to carry a decent conversation with, you'll have all these years of practice. I don't know, months of practice. Tip number 4 is show enthusiasm. Say yes with passion. Don't be like, oh, I might go, I might not go. Don't be too cool for school. Especially in the beginning, like who even are you to be so nonchalant? Whenever people invite you over, even if you absolutely cannot make it a point to say thank you to the host so that they invite you over the next time. Be it as a mate that you don't actually care about this party. The person that organized it really want everyone to have a good time. They probably put a lot of effort and time and love into it. So you want to honor that with enthusiasm. You want to honor that with certain reciprocity. One of the reasons I like Taylor Swift so much is that she will always act surprised. I mean, she is surprised whenever she receives awards, whenever she gets a compliment. She doesn't act entitled. She doesn't act like she's got better things to do. She's got better places to be. So I try to embody that spirit. I try to act excited whenever I get invited to places. Even if I can't make it, I'll make it a point to send the host a paragraph being like, hey, please do invite me the next time. I absolutely want to spend time with you. If it's a birthday party that they invited me over to, I'll be like, hey, I can't make it to your party, but let me make sure to give you a gift next time I see you. So then even if you're not actually physically there, people will think of you. People will think of you next time they want to throw something together. So you're not just a random blob of figure in their head. What I've been telling you so far is just having good manners and being more thoughtful, and don't act like an asshole, basically. The next tip, because I forgot which number I'm on, is to not do the big talk thing. A lot of times when we get older, we want to sound smart, when we want to impress people, we immediately jump into big topics. That is a slippery slope. If you're in, say, a co-worker's work, like meeting after work, everybody kind of knows the same topic. Sure, impress people, have the big talk, have philosophical discussions about life. But if you're just in a chill peers party, you don't necessarily know everyone, you don't know everyone's background, try to stave off of topics that are too big, controversial, not everybody has the same takes on. You don't want to create a debate. Okay, keep it interesting. Keep it about things that you're genuinely passionate about, things that can be nerdy, things that can be perceived as geeky. I say bring out all your quirks, bring out all your personality traits, but do it in a non-controversial way. And then did we talk about listening? Listening is so important, and particularly in a sense that when someone mentions something that you're knowledgeable about, let's say you play the piano, and then over here, someone else is like, oh, I play the piano, even though they're not necessarily as good as you are. Don't be like, oh, I can play the piano as well. Another example, someone went to India. You also went to India many times. You might even have a place in India. I just came up with the example, but don't try to do the one-up thing, being like, oh, you did this, I did this too. I know a lot of times we do that to try to relate to people, to try to find common ground with people. But I think the more tasteful, the more graceful thing to do is just to listen, to give the other conversationalist all the attention he wants or she wants, to honor whatever they're talking about, show interest, show intrigue. If you want to mention the fact that you've also done this, you've also gone to this place, you can also play the piano, do it in another time, okay? There's plenty of better timing to pick from. Just don't do it immediately after someone else's whole spiel. I've seen too many people try to one-up each other. It's just, what are you even saying? When people talk about, oh, this city that they travel to, it's not so much about that city. If you want to Google facts about this particular city or how to play the piano, you can find all the information online. People just want to be listened to. People just want to feel heard. It's not even that important what they're saying. It's just they want your undivided attention. The last tip, which is to know that everybody is just as shy and self-conscious and uncomfortable as you are. And yes, myself included. A lot of times people will be surprised when I tell them I'm actually more shy than I let on. I can calm my nerves. I've put in a lot of practice, but it's not what my mentality naturally is like. I'm very self-conscious. It's more of a survival instinct to think the worst in yourself and the best in other people. And so I kind of practice how to bypass that mindset and just learn to have good manners. And you'll be surprised how many people are just like that as well. Like, I've heard so many celebrities talking about how they're actually big introverts. They don't really do well with people. Surprisingly, they are big performers. You know, speaking on camera or speaking on stage comes very naturally because I am passionate about what I'm talking about. As far as one-on-one personal conversations or going to parties and strike up conversations with strangers, first of all, I don't really care about it naturally. And second of all, it takes another set of skills that you have to consciously cultivate. And so there's a lot of people like that. There's a lot of people that are shy. They are shy internally and they are shy externally. And so have a little compassion. When you go to a party, don't try to be the popular guy. Don't try to strike up conversations with everyone. Pick someone that you remotely find interesting. Start from somewhere and be easy on yourself, be easy on others. Don't expect yourself to suddenly go from 0 to 100. Like, that's another thing. Like, having low expectations going into any social conversation, any social interaction is counterintuitively what got me even just feeling comfortable with strangers, because I had so little expectation on myself. I'm just like, okay, I'm here to practice speaking, I guess. I'm not here to make lifelong friends. I'm literally just here to calm my nerves or learn to calm my nerves. And so, yeah, years later, I found myself in a circle of friends, a circle of genuine friends that oftentimes invite me to things and I invite them to things. And when I meet strangers, I don't feel as nervous. Even now, strangers are most of the time friends of a friend. So they're not complete strangers. But even if they're complete strangers, I am so much more comfortable because I'm equipped with all these tools and mindset tips. So yeah, I hope these tips have helped you out. And let me know. All right, bye.